Okay guys, so looks like we starting our stream. Let me know if you see my screen and if you hear me. This is most important for now, and if everything is okay, I will start. I suppose there's a little delay in between my streaming and how you see it, so I will wait your comments a bit and then we will start. Okay, nice. So, I probably will switch off my camera, but maybe I let it go for now. So, and we'll switch it later because it will be a little bit big and it will hide part of the screen. So, let's start like that and let's see how it will go. And maybe I will change something in the process. I will check your comments from time to time, and I will try to answer everything, at least if we will have a time for that, but probably we will have, so we kind of have endless time for now. It's no limits, and the main topic for today is to compare different AI models. And basically I will pick 3 of them. So it's SDXL, it's Flux in different kind of Flux, so it's not just 3 models basically, because for example Flux, it's like families of different models, and it's not just one. And also we will check how Nano Banana, so Google Gemini 2.5 is working for our task as well. And also for some specific tasks, I check other models, like for example Qwen Image and C-Dream and other different stuff. So I will mention them, but basically for architectural aesthetic and how you can use it specifically for design and architectural tasks, I would say those models are not that fine as others, which we check more precisely during the stream. So let's see how it will go for us. I prepared this presentation, and this will be our main source for this discussion, but also I prepared a Miro Board, which not complete yet, but I will share it anyway, and you can check these. So step by step, let's start with like a general comparison of different models. I did this table to compare different parameters of models. First of all, it's about tasks, so we will check these tasks. So it's text to image and image to image. So I will explain in details what exactly this or another task mean when we go forward. But for now, it's just I just gonna count them. So AI render, it's not only just one task as well. It's different kinds of AI renders, depends on your input. It's could be either simple sketch or already detailed 3D model or something else. So it depends. Basically, it's not just one task, and this table you don't need to consider as a let's say final judgment, because from one or another slightly difference inside of one or another task, it could be different result. We can go precisely to this as well. So Inpaint and Outpaint, also important stuff for us, and for example Gemini not really working with such kind of task, but there are some tricks to kind of use it as well for Inpainting, specifically for Outpainting. I didn't find yet a good approach. It's also possible, but not always working. But for Inpainting, it's almost always working. So basically, if we do this task as it should be, you can't use Gemini 2.5. So Gemini 2.5 is basically not just one model as well. It's Nana Banana. It's the most famous name of this model, but the proper name is Gemini 2.5 Flash Image. And there are two models actually there. We will talk about that as well. But both of them are not really able to do in painting or out painting as it should be. But as I already mentioned, there are some tricks. So upscale, another task we will consider today. LoRA training, also interesting stuff, and creating something else from your input. Like for example, you have one view of the building and you want to generate another view, like aerial view or perspective view or front view, but you, for example, have just one camera and you need all of these views from this one image. So it's also interesting how we can do that. And some other parameters. It's not tasks actually, but parameters which are important for using one or another model. So the first one is possible or not use it commercially. So for example, SDXL is open model, so you can just download it and use for everything you want. It's alt model as well. That's why for most of the other tasks the quality of the images is here marked as low. It's not always as well. So for example, for LoRA training, it's a nice model still, not the best, but okay, I would say. And for some other tasks also it's a good model, but it's old anyway, so new models of course more or less better. But it's possible to use it commercially. It's no cost for that, so you can just download it. You don't need a really powerful computer to launch it, and also it's kind of fast. So if we speak about speed of the model, how your render going, so it's just seconds. You need to make a render with SDXL. Flux, on the other hand, it's half-half, so it depends on exact model inside of this Flux 1 family, and there are models which are not possible to use commercially, but there is a model which is possible to use, so it's Flux Schnell. It's open model as SDXL, and you can download it and use it. So in Schnell it means fast, basically on German, so it means this model is relatively fast as well, not as fast as SDXL, but still faster than any other Flux model, let's say. And also there are commercial models which you can use in a commercial way. They are only available through API, so it's Flux Max, for example, or Flux Context Max or Flux Context Pro. So these models you can use for commercial reasons, but it's not possible to download them and use it through your computer, so it's only through API. And for Gemini, it's only API approach, so it's both Gemini 2.5 models are only available through API. So it's, through API it means you need to pay basically for use them. And Gemini is not expensive at all, but still I will show you how much it costs and how many images you can produce, for example for $5 or $10, but basically you need to pay, so it's not totally free. And this is the table for like overall comparison, but as I already mentioned, when we go deep to one or another task, you will see that depends on details, depends on set of models which you use there. It could be different. So sometimes you can achieve a really nice result with SDXL, even if I marked this quality as low in this table. And on the other hand, sometimes you can generate really shitty images with Nana Banana, just because prompt is not really nice or some other parameters. So basically it's not always like that, but it's like from my experience, and this is just first look, let's say, and let's go precisely, let's go see precisely all these tasks one by one, and how we can use these images. But before that, if you don't wanna go to these works just with one opinion or just with my opinion, so there is a website which is called lmarena.ai, and this is a really nice website where you can see the rating of all these models, and also you have a tool to compare them. So if I go to this website, for example, for us it's more interesting not LLM models, but in this case generative models for producing images, and only two tasks are presented here. It's text to image. So, and here is number one model right now is Hainan image 3.0, but this is preliminary. It means it's not available yet for real using outside of this website. So it probably means developers of this model just put it to this website to make a kind of preview, and it's a really high rating, a little bit above Gemini 2.5 flash image preview, but still above, but you see number of words, so it's because of the preliminary phase. Maybe this is not a final result, and we can't tell it's exactly like that or not. And especially we can't tell it's okay for architecture because or not as well. So because most of these tests, of course, like common tests from users, not related to architecture or design at all. So sometimes it's it could be different. For example, C-Dream has a really nice rating here, but I would say models like Imagine or GPT Image 1 are better in architectural tasks than this model. It's from my experience, but basically I don't like it at all because it's producing really generic architecture and like not nice composition of the image, not nice architecture as well. So it could be, maybe it's okay for, let's say, classical architectures, but if you work with the like real office where is basically producing modern buildings, it will give you just a generic views of one or another building if you want to generate it with this model. But so this is not about architecture, as I told you, but it's still nice rating, and there is a tool here to check all these models by yourself. So if you go to start voting, for example, you will see this interface here, and you can provide just a prompt or an image. Let's say we will provide an image from our computer, so it's basically we need to upload it. Maybe I will take something like no, let's check a look. For example, yeah, let's take this one. Oh, it's too big. Okay, maybe just take a random one. For example, already I generated image. I will go okay, this one is fine, I think, and still uploading. And let's say I wanna make this image as a winter render. And let's go. So you will see two results basically. So we'll of course need to wait, and we will not know which exact model produced one or another result, and then you vote. And this is basically how this website working, and how the rating here is appearing. So it's like a blind voting from the users, and you can provide as many tasks as you want. So this is the first image, and this is the second. You can guess which model did it. I don't really know, so, and which one I like more, I also don't know, but let's say this one. So we will go to left is better. Okay, it's security check. So it's a Gemini, yeah, it's a Gemini, and this is Flux One context. Basically, this is the difference, and both images are not nice, I would say, but it because of the input, because this input has also not a best quality image. It's a AI image from Flux as well, without upscaling, because for nice image I right now need to resize my real renders in Photoshop, because they are in the resolution like I don't know, 10 megapixels or something, and it's not possible to upload such image to this website. And to not waste your time here, I just upload the random one. So basically right now this model take one more vote, and it's how this website working. And if we go again to the rating, so another task here is image edit. It's what we did right now. We provided image and edited somehow. And here is actually Gemini 2.5 Flash is the best model in this rating, because I suppose this model has no such a function. It's only working with text prompt, at least for this preliminary phase, and it's not possible to use this model for editing image. It's not presented in this rating. So some models from this rating are kind of unique, and they can do both editing image and also creating image from scratch. From scratch means from prompt, of course. You need to provide your instructions, but you don't need to provide any like inputs for that. And these two different tasks, of course, require a different approach for model developers. And some models are able to do both, like Gemini 2.5, and this is really nice model, I would say. And these tasks actually most interesting for us, because usually we already have something as architects or designers. We don't do something entirely from scratch. We already have our ideas, our sketches, our even renders, and maybe we just want to improve some details or reimagine this render as we did right now, from summer to winter, or change the weather. This is most important for us, not to do something just from the text, and basically this rating is, I would say, more relevant for us. And there is Gemini as a best model here, but we will check later. It's the same for only architectural tasks, because here, as I already mentioned, it's about everything. So I provided image with architecture right now, but somebody maybe generate a car or something else. So basically most of the people generate characters, like another people, or characters for videos, and this is the most popular task, not architecture, in such ratings. And that's why we can't really trust it from the beginning. We need to check by ourselves. So C-Dream, kind of nice model if we speak about technical parameters of it, because it can produce images with high resolution, for example 2K or 4K resolution images. But as you can see, our rating slightly different. So for 2K images, quality is better than for really high-res image. generating. So it's basically also interesting. And another one model which we kind of check is Flux Context. It's a max version. It's a best model in the Flux One Context family. There are three models, if I'm not wrong. It's Max, Pro, and Def. So they all represented here in this context family. And you can see the difference of the quality of these three models. And some other models are also interested here. For example, this one, which you can use inside ChatGPT, probably familiar for everyone. So, but this is not the best model, as you can see. So it's even below two of the Flux models, and Gwen image is better, and Dream is better according to this rating, and of course Gemini is better. So basically, it's just 14 models represented here. It's not just 14 models on the market, of course, because some developers not put their models here. For example, Midjourney models are never presented in this rating, so they just don't want to do it probably. And but I would say if Midjourney do that, they will not win because they kind of, according to the quality, not best at all. So they have some other advantages, but we also will check what we can do with Midjourney right now. But if we compare only quality of the images, I would say Midjourney is on level of SDXL, which is a really old model. So basically, maybe this is the reason why they didn't implement this model to such an arena. Okay, this is about website. You can check it from month to month just to know what changes. Maybe some new models will appear, but for now it's like that. So if we speak about text to image, probably High 9 is the best model, but we don't know exactly how it's worked with architecture. And for image editing, it's Gemini 2.5 Flash Image Preview. It is also important because Google has another model, and Preview is kind of old already. Not old, it's from August, let's say. But when they launch the model on their own services like Google AI Studio, they actually implement another model, which is just 2.5 Flash Image without Preview suffix. And when you use this model through API, you can pick one or another, and there is a difference between image preview and like final model that implemented to Google services. It's not a big difference, but difference exists, let's say, between these two models, especially how they understanding your instructions, your prompts. So this is the small overview, and then we can go task by task. So I can probably make slideshow on the full screen, and I will maybe switch off my camera to not bother you with additional image. Yeah, this should be better. Let's check your questions, maybe you have some. Looks like not yet, but at least I hope sounds is still good and you can see everything. So, okay, first task which we will check is text to image. Is easiest task to do when you have just a text prompt and nothing else. So these some notes for these exact tasks. So each test, of course, require multiple attempts to find the best results, especially for models such like Midjourney. And you never, maybe sometimes, but mostly never find the best result from first attempt. And for models such like SDXL or Flux, you need to find a nice combination of different components of these models, because when you work with them, you have a lot of different parameters like combination of model, control net, LoRa, etc. Depends on your task as well. For text to image, it's a bit easier because you don't need, for example, control net here or Inpaint in model or something else, but you still need to define nice sampler, nice scheduler, nice other parameters, and even seed, which is like a random number to produce one or another result with the same parameters. It's sometimes important because with one attempt a result could be not nice, and with another attempt it's totally different. So when you just generate one image, you can't tell this is the good model or not. So you basically need to generate hundreds of images to really know that. And basically I did it from 3 or 4 years of working with AI, and of course some models are new, like Gemini. It's just 1 month old or 2 months, I don't really remember which months right now, but probably 2 months. So it's launched September, now it's probably November, and basically it's a new model. You still probably not have such an experience as with SDXL, but you already, because it's a fast model and it's working not from your computer, in my case I already generated maybe 10 or 20,000 images with Gemini, and I would say I can do my conclusions about that. But basically, if you just start with one or another model, with one or another approach, try different settings, try different prompts as well, because sometimes your first attempt is not the best, and it's not really show how this exact model working. What else is important? Models like SDXL and Flux are much better if you train LoRa for your specific task, or at least for common architectural approach or common architectural style in your studio. And all these tests I provided with these two models are with LoRa's, so they are not alone in these tests. I also use this combination of the base model plus LoRa, or even set of LoRa's to mix them to provide a really nice result, because like basic models, either Flux or SDXL will be really generic, and you don't need to use them this way. So let's see how it's working, and this is the first slide with the comparison. Here is 3 different models. It's Midjourney, it's SDXL and Flux. This is the prompt I used. So basically I would like to generate a skyscraper, and the specific location here also describes it's UAE seashore, and camera parameters, and sometimes you can't provide exact same prompt for different models, but in this case it's possible, because these 3 models more or less work in same way. SDXL actually not really understand the real text. It's working with separated phrases or words, and then combine it to the final image. But if you provide just the text, it's also fine. It's just not see it this way, but it's fine to produce images. And in this case, for this test, I didn't create a specific prompts for SDXL. Sometimes it's just easier to text like that. And it's still okay. It's will be not a huge difference if you make a proper SDXL prompt, especially for such short text. Let's say Midjourney and Flux are fine with such prompts, and you don't really need to think about that, how it's working. And this is the first comparison, basically. I would say from this test, Flux is the best model. It understands the prompt in a better way, and also it kind of create a interesting result according to architecture from my point of view, because for example if we speak about SDXL, it's kind of it's a nice building. If we try to build something like that, it will looks okay, I would say, but it's nothing special. I can create such building without AI models, so it's not really interesting if I wanna go with text-to-prompt approach, because when you use text-to-prompt text-to-image approach, you probably looking for something interesting, and in this case it's just a simple building, so it's not that interesting. That's why I would say Flux is best here, but this one is also kind of nice from my point of view. It's Midjourney with the weird parameter, and weird parameter I really like in Midjourney, especially for this task, because it could create kind of weird results, so it's parameter related to its name, and I like it because this one without the parameter, it's still okay, but again, quality for Midjourney it's not a best feature. So if we go precisely to this image, you will see it's a really AI generated image, not realistic at all, and details are not nice here, so such an image is not really interesting. But if we go with weird parameter, it's still not nice according to quality, but the shape is interesting. So I would say I like this design, kind of not exactly this, but I see how I can change it to a nice building, and this is what I expected from text-to-image approach, to see some interesting directions or ideas which I can implement to my work. Not exact final design, but something like that. So basically I would say Midjourney with the weird parameter still interested for this exact work, text-to-image. And SDXL is nice if you want to provide fast result, because it's a fast model, cheap result because it's a free model, and also kind of result which you can use somehow to, I don't know to what actually, but to have a set of different images with different composition of a simple volumes or of simple facades. So sometimes it's working. Of course, if you implement other LoRa's here, a result could be different, and we will see it later. So it's just about this image. And Flux, nice in all point of views, I would say here. So it's realistic, it's detailed, and it's still kind of interesting according to architecture. So, and if you see this prompt precisely, this is the only model which is kind of follow it. So for example, perforated metal origami style panels. See here we can see them. Basically they are kind of perforated, they're kind of origami style, and so they're metal for sure. And in these three samples you don't see something like that. So this is the only model which is follow the result. And here I use Flux One Kriya. So Kriya, it's a specific model which was trained on top of Flux One Dev, I suppose, but maybe Schnell, I didn't check precisely actually, but I think on top of Flux One Dev, because Schnell is not really for training. You can do that, but not in like official way, let's say. And also I used my own LoRa. I will provide a link for some LoRa models which you can see here in the description. So for example, Voxel Tower is my LoRa, Nunu XL is from Ismail Silad, and you can find most of them on CVTI, and I will provide a link in the end of this presentation. You will you can download them if you want and use for your own works. So basically this is the first sample, and this is how with the same, more or less the same prompt, Google Gemini work with this model. It's also follow the prompt really precisely. We see the perforated panels here, they kind of origami style, and also voxelized volume. In general, we can see some voxels, especially here. So basically Gemini follow the prompt in a really good way. And this comparison between two Gemini models, so first two images from Flash Image Preview, and these two from Flash Image, so this kind of final model from Google right now, the best one. And there is not really tool to compare them precisely, because when you change the seed for API models, you can't tell it's really changed or not when you switch the models as well, because maybe for another model this seed is not totally the same parameter as for, let's say, preview model. So it's hard to tell. But and there are no other settings. You can just provide your inputs, your prompt, and pick the model. That's it. Also pick the seed, but seed not a real parameter for comparison in this case. And basically you can only kind of try to feel which model is better for you. From my experience, Flash Image understand the prompt more precisely than the preview model, and sometimes it's advantage and sometimes not. So sometimes you don't need to follow the prompt in a really precise way, but in most cases, of course, this is what you expect from the model. If you text something, so you probably expect this model will follow it, and that's why I would say Gemini 2.5 Flash Image is better than preview in most cases. And for example, on this Arena website, which we checked before, we only can check the preview model, so this one is not presented, but you can use it, of course, through API, through Google AI Studio, through many other services, so it's available basically everywhere. I would say I did all these tests in ComfyUI, so it's if you don't know this interface like that, it looks like that, for example, and for Gemini it looks like that. It's a really simple one. You have this Google Gemini image node, and you can pick one or another model. Here you can pick a prompt and what to do with seed, and what to do with seed after generation. I usually use an increment parameter to increment the seed by 1, and it's allow me to run this job multiple times and take another result with the new seed. And basically I used ComfyUI for everything except Midjourney, of course, because Midjourney is not available here, but for all other models I use this interface, and there are a lot of different workflows I used for all these tests, and basically we can check the results from these workflows today, and we will try to pick our favorites models for all of them. So I would say in this exact job Google Gemini is the best model if you do text to image, and the only thing here it's actually aspect ratio of this image. So you can see it's image like that, and there is no parameter for aspect ratio in this node, and there is probably no parameter in Google API for this, so you can't really provide your aspect ratio through these parameters, and by default all your images will be with resolution like that, so it's square images basically. If you have a square input, it's not totally square, as you can see, it's okay, but if it's like that, it will change it. It's first. And second, if you have no input like that and try to just use text prompt. So it also will be a square image. You can see it here. Of course, it's totally different because this right now is not working, and it's just follow the prompt. And the prompt is a really short one without detailed description of what we want to achieve. That's why result kind of generic AI image. Nothing interesting here, but if we go with a really precise prompt, it will be much better. And what I did exactly for this workflow, so let me show you. Basically, there is a trick actually how you can provide your own aspect ratio. So I don't really remember where it is. It should be text to image, I think. Check on this one. No, this. Yeah, this. For example, I will take any of this image. So what I did, I provided background with a specific aspect ratio, what I wanna have in the results. So it's not totally text to image approach. I still have image as an input here. So if I disconnect it, I will have a square result, and we can see it. You can see result like that, and this is the architecture we have right here. But if I connect this image, it will be not square afterwards because it's taking it into consideration. Even you see in my prompt I have this image resolution, but it's not working if I just have a text. And here it's working. So it's still different because Gemini working only with a specific set of aspect ratios. So you can't really use any aspect ratio for that. You can check on the internet which exactly aspect ratios can be provided by Google Gemini. Also, there is a node which can convert your image to a specific resolution for Flux context type models. So in the Gemini and Flux context, I suppose they have same requirements for that. And for Flux there is a node which I don't remember exact name actually of this node, but let's say if I just do that, it's basically yeah, for example this one. So it's you can provide kind of aspect ratio you want, and it will provide for you width and height for the image. And basically this is the thing which you can use for Gemini as well. It's not the only one node. You can use only another one which take your image as an input and then already convert it in the specific resolution, but I don't remember exact name of this node right now. And basically this is also possible to use. You can just resize image. For example, this node, doesn't matter which one, there are a lot of nodes, and provide this width and height and your image as an input, and then pick exact aspect ratio you want to have. So let's say this one. So it will convert your image to something, and you can check how it will look like. So now it's like that, and this is not actually, it's yeah, see, it's not changed actually. It was already here, and this is not nice resolution for Gemini, so probably it's kind of different. And maybe you need to do without this node, but manually provide your width and height and check which exact resolution is okay for Gemini. But it probably changed actually. Maybe I just didn't pay attention. But no, it doesn't. Okay. I hope you understand the idea, and that's why this background, which I use, also affected to the image. So you can see in my presentation, all these images, they have kind of the same background, not totally the same, but the same color palette here. And of course you can change it, just changing your initial image to produce more interesting job here. Okay, then some key notes about that. So if we use SDXL, so this is the very fast render model. It's basically not just for text to image, all these keynotes for everything, and I will not repeat such slides for other jobs which we will cover during this session, but let's say all these keynotes we can apply to model for any job, either text to image or AI render or something else, if these models are possible to use for such job. So some of them are not really handle one or another work which you can provide, but basically, for example, SDXL, it's really fast, it's totally free, you can use it commercially, but the quality of the images are abstract. Sometimes it's good. So for example, I really like this image, how it looks like, but of course it's not a real architecture, it's an abstract image which kind of you can use to direct yourself in one or another concept. And such images you can easily create with SDXL, and for that task is still one of the best models to create abstract, non-realistic images just from text, and this kind of good. So, but what is important for SDXL type of models, you usually can't achieve the nice result from the first attempt. You need to try to find the nice set of parameters for a good result, and also good prompt. You should check how to use them. So when you just launch SDXL render, for example, if you go to the website which aggregate a lot of different AI models, and I don't know, probably Korea website do that, or Xfigura, for example, or Digital Plus or something else. So there are a lot of services which accumulate different models and provide interface for you to work with them. So if you use SDXL on such a website where most of the parameters are not visible for you, and where you usually can't use your own LoRA models, so probably results will be really generic, and you only can use the interface like ConfUI for such type of job, I would say, because there you're able at your own parameters or your own models, your own inputs, everything basically, and there you can achieve a good result. So these are the images with SDXL for text-to-image workflow. So this one as well. And the next model is Flux. So it's kind of slow. If you try to use it on your own computer, you either need a really nice computer, or it will be slow for you. So if SDXL render will about I don't know, 10-20 seconds, maybe even 5 seconds, depends on how you optimize your workflow and which exact version of ConfUI you use. So for Flux it will be already not seconds but minutes. Also depends on your computer, depends on your optimization, which exact version of Flux model you use. There are, for example, GGoof models which are kind of faster, and for example, Nunchaku version of ConfUI, which also optimize your workflow, but you will lose some quality there if you go with such approaches, but it can be faster. If you just use Flux as it is with ComfUI, it probably will take a couple of minutes for renders, so which is not fast at all. Also depends on your machine, of course. If you have 5090 NVIDIA graphic cards, so it's probably much faster. But results are realistic, and you still need to have LoRA models to achieve not generic images result, but direct the Flux model with the style you wanna have in the end. And this is important, depends on your Flux models, it's could be non-commercial use. So for example, if you use Flux 1 dev model, it's non-commercial. If you use Flux 1 Schnell, it's for commercial use. And there are other models, so you need to check every time which exact model you use, and it's possible to use inside of your office or not, or just for tests or for something like I don't know, for research work you probably can use them. So you always need to check licenses for Flux because it's not always possible to use inside your office, let's say. This is the other result with the Flux models. And Gemini is kind of third competitor here. I didn't provide any keynotes for Midjourney because it's probably familiar for everyone, and you know how to use it. So Gemini, it's fast because it's maybe not fast, but it's not working from your computer. So Google servers are fast, and they return your final image in a really quick way. We just did it during this presentation, and it's kind of cool. So it's paid. This is probably important. So can I show you? This is your payment. It's 0.3 cents per one token image. Oh, one token inputs, let's say, and outputs as well. Actually, it's summarized. So what means 1K token? Every word here, it's require some tokens to send it to Google servers, and also your image input as well. So if you go just with text input, it's will be really cheap. If you go with one or even set of images as inputs, because it's possible to provide not just one image here, you can see. And in this case, you will spend maybe 2K tokens per job or 3K tokens per job. It depends. In ComfUI, you can always check it in your settings. Then if you go to the credits, it's how much money on your account and this exact job you launched. So you can see your input image tokens, it's almost 2K. Then input text tokens, which is just 93, so it's nothing. Basically text, it's not that big for prompting, so it's more important for LLM model, where you can provide really huge text instructions and text materials, but when you generate images, usually your input text tokens are really small, so below 100 here, it's not a big at all. And output image tokens, you need to summarize it, so it's above 3000 tokens for this job. It means it will be about 0.7 cents for one generation, which is not even 1 cent still, but if you want to generate a lot of images, so it will be probably cost you some money, so you need to pay attention on it. So these models are not free, this you need to know. But the results, I would say, are really good. It's really detailed, and it kind of understands how architecture working. So you never see, you probably sometimes see, but it's not a common situation when the result provided by Gemini is not make sense. Like for example, you see the building where a staircase go to window or something like that. So it's for Gemini, it's not really common situation. It more or less understand how architecture working. It's also understand architectural aesthetic and provide really nice results from aesthetical point of view. So it's kind of good. I really like this model, and for text to image I would say this is the best choice for now, except you have a specific let's say style for your result, and for that we will go to the next type of job here, but basically for models like SDXL or Flux, you can train your own LoRA model, which can direct your result towards a specific style, which is kind of important for that. In Gemini, you still need to use some tricks because it's not possible to train such models, and these tricks are not completely cover this type of tasks. So I would say if you just go with text to image without preferences for your specific style, or even with such preferences, but without, let's say, okay, I will cover it probably later when we go to LoRA models for what we can use them, because there are different approach how to provide your own style. You can just do it with one image, and this is possible with Gemini, and but there is a difference, so we will return to this topic later. This some other samples with Gemini, and this is our next workflow to check. It's when you have not just a text prompt but also style reference. Before we go here, I will check your questions. Let me see in the chat. It's a question from Artem. I keep trying to find a use for C-Dream. High resolution sounds really nice, but is it just me, or do most of 4K generations actually look worse in details than what Gemini does? I would say I have the same feelings. So it's for me, C-Dream is not interesting at all, because it's kind of always produce the same generic results, and if you relaunch your job, your building will look more or less the same but with some different details. So it's kind of not interesting from my point of view. Yeah, better to just create images small resolution with either Flux, Gemini, or even SDXL, and then upscale it. Yeah, and the question about seat and conf UI for Gemini, for me, I think it's not a case. Let's check quickly. So, for example, let's try to fix the seat and generate something. So these guys we don't need. So this is our job, and let's try to generate it again. So it's not launched because they're the same parameters and it will provide the same results. So let's try another thing. Maybe I will copy it for comparison later. So we have this image. Let's generate a new one with another seed. Sorry, of course it's different image because seat is different, and let's go back. Let's check it will be the same or not. Okay, it's different, yeah, you're right. So basically it's just remember the seat until you change it. So if I run it right now again, it's provide me the same image because no changes with the parameters. But if I go further and go back, so it's give me a totally different image. So yeah, it's kind of not good, but I would say it's not really affect your results because I don't see big reasons to go back to this job. I just save it because I kind of like this, so it's interesting. Okay, yeah, you're right about seed. If you switch it once, when you go back, it's not provided the same job for you. Another question from Natalia. Hi, can we use masks in Google Gemini and change only part of a picture? Yes and no. We will cover this topic today. So, in a direct way, answer is no, but there is a trick. Okay, next topic is style reference. And before we go to this, I will show you one more thing here. So it's my Miro board. And in this presentation, I just provided, let's say, one sample or one result. For example, for SDXL, I probably give you this in the presentation. But of course, when I tested, I did a lot of images. And I will share this Miro board later. It's not finalized yet because I stopped here with the AI render and not even did a lot of samples here, and it's only one type of AI render in presentations. In this presentation you will see more, and I will gonna continue this table afterward, this board, and it's not finished yet, but I will provide this board link in the description of this YouTube video after we finish this lecture. But what I wanna show you, it's of course when I did the tests, even with the one or another prompt, I made a lot of different images, and it's not all of them, of course. Some of them was like not interesting at all, or not go in a precise way I wanna achieve. So before I found the nice set of parameters, I did maybe hundreds of other images which not in this Miro. But afterwards, when I find it, so it's kind of these results, and you can check not just one image but set of them, for example for SDXL, also with another LoRA combination, so you can see totally different, not totally different, but kind of style here is not the same as in this set. So it's also for other prompt, so also with one set of LoRa's and with another you can see the different results, and the same for it's just for text to image. So it's you can see for Gemini, for example, this is the set of images you can see for this prompt, and basically the same for Flux, which is kind of also nice. But for Flux you can see if you have one set of LoRa, let's say here is one LoRa Flux voxel tower plus the model is Flux Korea here, but the results are kind of similar, so they are in the same style, I would say. So composition of the buildings are different, but general approach is the same. If you switch one LoRa to another, or in this case I didn't switch LoRa, I switched the model itself, so it's not Korea, it's Fluxmania, which is kind of also interesting, not always work well for me, but in this exact case it's kind of cool. And this model has, I would say, more variations. So for example this building and this building are totally different. Maybe this one not that nice, this one okay, and but they are different. This is sometimes important for the model, and here you can see they are more or less the same. So but basically, for example here and here, the appearance of these buildings are totally different. And when I provide this board for you, you can check more precisely how it works. Also, if you work with ComfUI, some of these images with workflows inside, so you can just download them, drag and drop to your ComfUI, and you can see workflow behind it, which exact set of parameters I used, and you can try to repeat it. I didn't check precisely for all these images we have workflow inside or not, because for some of them are after upscaling, and it means behind this image upscale workflow, not the workflow produced the image itself. So sometimes you will not see the exact workflow behind it, but in most cases I would say it will be. Also Midjourney, Miro working in a tricky way for me, but okay. So Midjourney, sorry for that. Yeah, what I like in Midjourney, it's okay, doesn't matter. But what I try to tell, Midjourney actually provides a really kind of nice variations for results, because some other models not. And if we check this Flux Korea, I already mentioned, more or less the same all these buildings, but for Midjourney, this is the really advantage of these models. There are really different results when you just relaunch your job inside of this website. You will see a lot of different approaches for just one prompt. It's basically probably because behind the user interface they change the parameters some kind of automatically. So in ComfUI, if you work with your own workflow, you either need to provide the logic to change the parameters automatically, or you need to do it manually. So when you just keep all the parameters, for some models you will see more or less the same result. I suppose Midjourney is some kind of mix behind the scene, some of the parameters to achieve different results automatically, which is not the case for ComfUI, and which is good actually, because in ComfUI you really need to control everything by yourself. But when you just relaunch your prompt with different seeds, you sometimes on ComfUI will see similar results. Okay. This board I will provide for you later in the description of the video which you are seeing right now. Looks like we don't have any more questions. Let's go back to the presentation. So style reference, it's also interesting thing actually, and yeah, what we have right here, it's a reference I use. It's image, it's a photo of Kop Himmelblau building in China, and you can see the description of this building, and basically this will be a style reference for me, and I will try to do something else from this exact image. For example, I will try to do skyscrapers, and in this comparison, so here is 3 different models, 2 images from Midjourney with different parameters, and to provide style reference you need to use Omni reference function in Midjourney, and this is my prompt. And basically I would say this is nice result. So it's kind of skyscraper, and you can see exact elements from your image input. So this is the best result from this slide, and with mirrored parameter is interesting, but it's already not a skyscraper, and kind of really messy image, not looks like a conventional architectural building. Let's say it's still interesting to use for interpretation, but not like a final result. Of course, this I can imagine as a final result. I can just create a 3D model from this image and then create all the drawings. Of course, from the engineering point of view, there are some narrow spaces right here, and it will be tricky to do with the core of such building, but still I can use almost this appearance for architecture. This is not possible to use, which is some kind of good as well, but if we just see to the image, I would say this one is better. And these two, SDXL and Flux, are more or less not able to produce from such image something totally different like skyscrapers. So if you use, for example, IP adapter, or in case of Flux, you need to use Redux model, they kind of attach to this initial image, and they can change it completely to totally different appearance. So it's kind of totally different appearance, but not totally different topology. So if you need from horizontal building like a vertical one, it's not fully working for SDXL and Flux, especially for Flux. So Flux, not good model for such task, I would say. SDXL still can work. This more or less okay, and as you can see, we need interconnected voxel towers, so it's multiple of them, and we can say it's towers, and they kind of interconnected. So it's maybe even better understanding of this prompt than Midjourney, because here is no connections, but still two towers. And so this not totally bad, I would say, but I still like more this one. And if we go to Gemini, this is the best again for me. So basically we have results like that. In this case, I don't see a huge difference with preview and non-preview model. So still, if we see a set of images, not just two of them, from each model, I would say flash image is better than flash image preview in most cases. But for example, this image I really like, and how it understands the prompt, how it understands the reference, so it's really nice. And basically each part of this prompt are represented in all of these images. So we take the style in all these images, we can see it. We have multiple towers, we have connections between them, we have cubic balconies, which is not the case here, for example. Flux kind of tried to do that, but not really achieved a nice result. But here we can see them, and yeah, lake as well, so it's located on the lake for sure. Basically, for example, here Flux also not able to change an environment. Other models did it, but Flux not. It's take the environment from the input. So basically, I would say for style reference, Gemini is the best model. And this is another sample how from one input, it was already two towers here. I didn't provide input in this presentation, but believe me, this towers was this image was different from all these three, but the composition was the same, and it can provide really interesting, nice results right here. So I would say Gemini is the best model for this task. Next task is Inpaint. So it's about the question from Natalia about is possible to use mask for Gemini or not. So now we can check it. So Inpaint is basically a technique where you just draw a mask basically and change one or another part of the image. And this exact job is possible to use through Photoshop as well. So in Photoshop beta, it's only in beta right now, not in the final version of Photoshop. They implement Gemini model and Flux Context model, and you can just mask one or another part of the image and change it through this model. It was possible before, but only with Firefly model from Adobe. which kind of not good for this. So Firefly is okay if you need to remove object from the scene. For example, you mask, I don't know, this sofa, and just want to remove it from interior. So Firefly probably will work with that. In most cases, from my experience, if I want to remove, let's say, people from photo or some objects from renders, it's working well. But it's not good if you need to replace object. So, for example, if you need make from this sofa another one object like table, or redraw the color, so Firefly knows the best model for that. And it's a good thing that Adobe implement right now third-party models like Google Gemini, Nano Banana, or Flux Context. So these models working better with such task, and especially Flux Context inside Photoshop works kind of well, because you really can mark exact area you want to change and do that. For Gemini, it's not working this way, but we will, even in Photoshop, but we will talk about that on next slides. So what we have as an input, we will have this image, and this will be our mask. So it means we will cover this bottom part of the image, and the black one remain the same. So black part of the mask is keeping existing image, and white is the area for changing. And we will change this lake with a new modern cozy restaurant. So we'll try to do that. And what else is important for us? Some models will generate, because it's restaurant, there will be people there, and some models are not really able to create a nice people if they are small. So if it's a portrait image of a character, so any model can do that, because it's one of the main tasks currently for everybody. But if we speak about like architectural image with a lot of small people on the street or something like that, so some models are not able to provide realistic faces, realistic poses for these people. So this noted here, because afterwards you can use another approach to just improve people on your image. So we will not take it into consideration in this case, because it's possible to improve after. We only interested in how the model understand this task in general. So we need to replace this lake with the modern restaurant. This is another image as an input, but here I just want to show you how it works in ComfUI. So you need to go to special editor, where you need to draw a mask. So I will erase it in this case, but in the same way you will draw it. And of course I will cancel it afterward, because we need this mask. And then your model, which you can use, understand this area which you masked, its area for changing, and everything else should remain the same. And basically this is the result. So it's how it's working. Everything else is the same, and the part of the image are changed. This is the explanation of the Inpaint technique, and what we can do here. So Midjourney. Midjourney has a special editor to load your own image and mask it, and then achieve the result like that. And in Midjourney case, this is the situation where people looks not that nice as they should be, but as I already mentioned, it's not interesting for us now. We can improve them later if we want. So basically this is the result from Midjourney. More or less the same result from SDXL. I would say in general Midjourney is, and SDXL right now is a same tier of models. They're working, if we speak about quality, more or less in the same way. I would say even SDXL kind of better in this case. I like it a bit more as a result, but of course people are also not nice at all. Some of them without hat, some of them just weird. So basically you don't need to expect from these two models final result. You still need to work with some details here in Photoshop or in Conf UI. There are some model to change only people on your image. So basically this is what you can achieve with these models. But sometimes you don't need Inpaint. For example, here we Inpaint just a part of the building, and we don't care about people at all. So for such job, Midjourney and SDXL will not have this issue with people. So then another one, it's also SDXL, but plus here we use Focus Inpaint model. It's a specific Inpaint model which you can combine with SDXL to achieve another result, and you can see this here, and this is Flux Fill model. So basically it's a specific model from Flux family for Inpaint in task, and I would say both of them are better with details, but they're kind of not nice with the scale. So I would say this scale is better than this one, and these two models understand this pavilion as something really big one, and it still can work this way probably, but I would say this one is better. So these two models are not really nice. Another approach with Flux, but here we use Flux Fill, and here we use Flux Context. So for Flux Context it's also possible to mark the area and achieve a result, and I provide two different images here because Flux Context is not consistent. Sometimes it creates results like that, so it's kind of small changes which not make sense, and we see nothing similar to restaurant here. So basically it's not successful work at all, but sometimes it's doing something like that. So it's just a different seed, all the same parameters, all the same LoRa's, but seed is different. So with Flux Context, which is, as I already mentioned, implemented to Photoshop right now in the beta version of Photoshop, you sometimes need to provide several attempts and just wait your nice result. If we go to our Miro board and try to check how we hope it will work right now, how it's successful or not. So this is the row with the Flux Context. You can see that not every second time, but for example from these 6 or how many 7 images, yeah, here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, yeah, only 2 jobs were successful, so others are not. And basically this is the case for Flux One, but on the other hand, people are really not totally nice here, but much more better than in Midjourney or SDXL, and such people is easier to improve with the specific model. So it's kind of work much better in this case. This is another Flux model which I mentioned before, Flux Fill, which in one hand developed specifically for this Inpaint task, but I would say it's not nice for this exact job with the scale, and also it provides some kind of text on top of the images really often, so you can see the result. I would say Flux Fill not the best model for us. Let's check it for this kind of job. So this again, Flux Fill, is provide more or less the same result every time right here. So it's not totally the same, but the direction which goes here is the same, and the prompt was a crystal shape with structured glass and metal materials, voxelized parametric structure. So not really related to the prompt. Maybe it's just a fracture it, but nothing else. And this is Flux Context, which is much better and also provide sometimes really different results. So I would say in between two Flux model, which is possible to use for inpainting, Flux Context is your choice. And if we go back to the presentation, so this is the Gemini, and it's again the best model for this task, I would say, and how it's understand the style of image itself. So you see these chairs, for example, it's just make, for example, here is nothing related, so it's okay as a quality of the image. But if we speak about design of this restaurant, I have questions. So here it's taking the pavilion into consideration, and here as well. So it's a preview model. This is the flash image model without preview word in the name, and basically the style is consistent, and the image itself is more complete. And the only thing with Gemini is not really possible to mark the area you want to change. So what you need to do, I can show you on this exact image. So I think it's should be nope. Yeah, here. So if we go to Conf UI, and if I drag and drop one of this image, so what I have here, I have just my input as it is, nothing special here, and I need some kind of provide a mask inside of my text prompt. So I tell this model, instead of water, make a modern open air cozy restaurant. So I need to mark the area on the image by words. It's also possible actually kind of use another image, another approach here, but let's check. So advantages and disadvantages for here is sometimes changing not just this part, but something else, as we can see in the presentation. So while it's working, I can show you. So in this case, it's not only at the bottom part, like here, but also provide some additional elements on top, which I didn't really want, and I like the results in general, but it wasn't a task, let's say, for this model. And the difference between this and this is just a seed. So this is the same settings, same prompt, you just have another attempt to achieve either this result or this result. So sometimes you just need, in case of Gemini, provide several attempts with the Inpaint and job. So let's check. So kind of okay. It's only changed the bottom part. So it's adds some small details here, like a lamp or something, but in general it's only changes bottom part right here. But if I try again, in some cases it will be changed for top part as well. So it's what I shown in the presentation. And this is the case for Gemini. So you can, instead of this, where you mark your area by text, you can really mark it in Photoshop. Let's say we can provide images like we have right there. But maybe I will not cover it. So let's say you will provide image as you have for SDXL with the mask. Okay, let me check my library. By the way, this library I'm going to share for free as well, but not after this lecture, maybe in a few months, because I need to prepare it, and we have a plan to make a website and share it, and I suppose it will be useful for everyone, but not now. Okay, I need Inpaint, yeah, and inputs, and not inputs actually. Inpaint, renders, so any of this. So, okay, it's not visible here, unfortunately. but maybe it's visible, you know what, right here. Yeah. So if we will provide image like that, of course not with this quality, but with brushed part already, and tell Gemini, instead of brushed area on the image, like a black area, or depends which color you will use for this mask, do something, it will also work. So if you need to replace a lot of object on the image, not like one pond or one tree or something like that, which is easier to describe in text, but you need to replace part here, part here, part here, which are different. You can just cover it by mask in Photoshop and then save such an image with covered parts, and also just tell Gemini, so instead of this color on the image, do something, and it will also work. So basically you can't provide exact masks, there is no tool for that, but you can use some tricks for Gemini to do that. Okay, let's check your questions quickly. Another question from Natalia. Are there any special features when creating a prompt for Google Gemini? Maybe yes, but I don't do any specific things. So I basically just text the prompt as I feel in. So I don't use any websites, or sometimes I use a LLM model if I, for example, need a prompt based on another image. So for me it's sometimes easy to describe it first with either Gemini or ChatGPT or something like that, and then use this prompt and edit it. But basically if I do the prompt like from scratch, I just text it. I don't use any prompt constructors or something like that. So Gemini basically understands everything you text and do it in a really precise way, so it's no tricks here. The only thing, all the developers, and also on the Gemini 2.5 Flash image webpage, you can see some recommendations. They are really short, but one of them I remember, use positive prompts. For example, if you wanna replace something, like this water with the other object, don't do prompt like delete or remove the water and make something instead of it. So just provide an action which is going towards a positive way of wording. So do something, not do something new, not remove something, not delete something, not I don't know. For example, if you wanna keep the composition, you need to provide a prompt like keep image as it is, or keep elements as it is, not prompts like I don't know, which has a negative impact in your words. So Gemini better understand like positive prompts, not negative ones, and this is the thing. But on top of it, I don't know what else. So you can also check. I don't remember exact right now website, but it's official Google website about Google Gemini 2.5. They provided some tricks for that. Also, I've seen really common web page on GitHub with prompt examples, and everybody use them all around the internet, but I don't even want to provide it. For example, there are some prompts where, for example, your from this image is create a physical model and then create a computer screen and kind of this model inside of the computer program on the screen. So this kind of prompts, which are not really tricks, but just examples, I would say, how you can use Gemini. Basically, you can text whatever you want, and it's understand it all as well. So another question, with two images in Gemini, is it possible to fit one image into another? For example, a model of your project into another? Yes, this is possible. We will cover it today later. And it's, I would say, easier in Gemini than in Photoshop, except you have Photoshop Better, because in Photoshop Better there is a specific function for that. But also quality for Gemini for me is better. Okay, method or trick for how to specify in the Gemini prompt which reference images is used for what purpose when there are. Yeah, this is I didn't cover yet. Yeah, this is interesting, I think. So when we went to style reference, I will show you how this workflow exact working. Oops, it's I'm not sure where it is. Let me check. Here. Okay, it's probably image to image in my case. Yeah, here. So for example, we will take this. Let's see, I provided two images here, one as a background, which I need to use because if I provide this image, it will take aspect ratio for it, but I need a skyscraper, so which is a kind of vertical image usually. That's why I provide another image as the first one, so batch image not I use here, and the second as a reference, and I provide it in the prompt, so use first image as a base for aspect ratio, and from second image take an architectural style for facades to create a concept design of interconnected, etc, etc. So basically this is the trick here, and it's working well for me. So I never seen a result which is not follow this instruction. So it's always take this aspect ratio. It will be funny if, of course, it's right now will produce something else, but from my experience, yeah, it's always taken aspect ratio from here. Of course, it's resized because Google can provide images only in 1 megapixel resolution, so it's resized. But aspect ratio keeping from the first image, it's also taken background from it because I use it as a base, and basically it taken a style from the second image. So it's like that. Let's try again, just to check. So Gemini, I would say it's kind of interesting model. There is no parameters here, and just kind of one function to create image, but you can use your inputs in a really tricky ways to do something else. So you just need to use your imagination for that. Language, oh, it's an interesting question. I actually never tried anything except English. You can try, so I can't tell in this case. In general, LLM models understand any language, but I can't tell it will work with the image generation or not, and also it will work with in the same way or not. So maybe it will be in something else in a style result or something like that, I don't know. So in general, I know that inside of the official Google servers, like Google AI Studio or for example Google Flow for video generation, you can use any language, but for example a month ago for Google Flow it wasn't possible. They just implemented it recently. So basically, I don't know, it will work through the API or not, but in Google AI Studio for sure you can use any language, but in Coffee UI, just check. Yeah, and tokens, as Artem mentioned here, so tokens in other languages except English, I kind of more expensive. So one word in other language will be, if it's not Latin, language, let's say Latin languages with a Latin alphabetical style, they are in the same with tokens, should be at least. But if you have, for example, Cyrillic alphabet or like hieroglyphs, like Chinese or Japanese languages, so these could be different in tokens. Not that important for such type of work, because your text tokens are still, in compared to image tokens, are nothing. So basically you can not pay attention on it. But if you, for example, use it in the office and everybody use it every day, let's say for a year, you maybe keep some money if you use English. So maybe not, you need to check as well. Okay, Artem said that functions added to stable Photoshop, not in beta already. Okay, it's nice news. Okay. Yeah, you can try also use Photoshop for that. It's up to you. For me, I don't know why, but I still kind of like ComfyUI for that, just because maybe you can stitch your images in a tricky way. It's Photoshop, it's also kind of possible, but it's up to you what to use in this case. I suppose the model is the same, and it will work in a quality results also in the same way, so basically you can use any platform for that. Do you think they let new people into the ComfyUI cloud soon? I've been waiting in the line to try it. I think yes, they will do it soon, but for that actually workflow you don't need ComfyUI cloud because it's not working from your computer. So you just need to be able to install it, and then it's working through API anyway, so you don't need like a nice graphic card or memory or something like that on your computer. So basically it's API workflow, it's working also through the clouds kind of, so it doesn't matter. But I think they will allow to use ComfyUI cloud for everyone very soon, because they already implemented payment system there, and it should be last step before public launches. Okay, looks like no more questions for now. Let's go back to presentation. Outpaint. So it's similar work as Inpaint, but in this case you need to expand your image to make borders wider, kind of zoom out your image, and so this, let's say, area of your original image and white is a new part which should be added. And of course it's also possible to use Photoshop for that. Even last features which are already implemented maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, I don't know, in Photoshop it's a generative expand feature possible to use for these tasks. The only thing is also not that good in quality, but if we use models like SDXL or Flux, you can achieve really nice result. Let's see. So I also try Midjourney for that. I don't like it because Midjourney always try to add new objects like this bridge, and these objects looks not that good. So, and color palette also really kind of, so if we see here, it's not that acid like Midjourney provided. The same thing actually for SDXL. It's better according to quality especially, but also color palette I don't really like. It's still kind of really greenish here, and So maybe just in this case, and you can provide another input and results will be better, because if we speak about quality, it's okay, and SDXL still fast and working well with such type of task. So I would say it's one of the choice here. It's above Midjourney for sure, and it's working really nice even with the big images with a high resolution, so you can use it for this task. But my favorite in this case is flux fill actually. So flux fill really create a nice atmospheric images, and for Outpaint it's not adding new objects where I not require them. So in the prompt, for example, prompt is really simple here, beautiful scenery, and it's creating images like that, so nothing bother me here. So I didn't mention the bridge here as well, or this park style outside of this pond, but these two models are provided some new additional objects, and here is just a proper Outpaint as I expected to have it. So actually I provided two samples here. In Miro Board you will see more when I share it, but basically this is my favorite model for this task. And with Gemini it's possible to like put your image to this black square and leave this as white, and tell to Gemini something like, instead of white boards, outpaint my image. But it's not always working. It's because sometimes it's, for example, keep horizontal part of the white and only fill these sides. And the most important thing, it's not a real outpaint, because Gemini still should provide result in a 1 megapixel resolution. So it's kind of scratch your image to this resolution, while the proper outpainting draw new pixels outside of your original image and increase in general resolution of the image during the work. So for example, if you have 2 megapixels in the middle and add 400 more pixels from each side, you will see the image with the resolution by width, for example, about 3000. But with Gemini it's not the case, so it will anyway downscale your image to 1 megapixel, and it's no make sense to use it in this case, because when you upscale it, you will change from this small object a lot of details. So if you need to keep this middle part as it is and only add new one, flux fill is the best model for that, I would say right now. And I also used for test Gwen image, but results was not that nice, so I would say flux is the best. Inpaint object. So this is one of the tasks you already asked in the comments today. So when we need to implement objects into the scene, and in this case I will try to implement these 3 objects to this scene. So, and in the specific order, for example, I would like to have a sofa right here. In front of the sofa I would like to have a carpet, and on top of the carpet I would like to have a table. So this is the idea. In Photoshop, I don't know, Artem told about this exact feature or not. There is a function to implement object to the scene. It wasn't beta last time I checked it, but maybe they also implemented it already in the release. But in any case, in Photoshop you can also do that. The quality is, because here Photoshop use their own model, not like Flux or Gemini, so I would say the quality is not the best, but it's better than some models, let's say, and it's still easy to use. So what I checked here, first of all, it's a Flux 1 fill context. If you attended my ComfyUI course last spring, we used this workflow for that exact task, and you remember we used Flux 1 fill and plus Flux 1 redux, so it's 2 models here working together. The disadvantage of this workflow is one-by-one objects inserting, so you can't use all 3 objects simultaneously and insert them to the scene. So you first need, for example, mask area for the sofa and insert the sofa, then mask the area for the carpet and do that. And this is not a fast way for sure. Second, if you can check the carpet, it's different. So here you can see this, for example, narrow stripes in between these parts, and here is totally different pattern. For example, in this sample is better, carpet is the same if we don't speak about size of it, but the pattern on the carpet is the same. So flux not really keep exact object, especially if these objects are not that simple as, for example, this table or sofa. So if you have a really tricky pattern on it, flux is not the best choice. And the third thing, the light in this scene, I would say it's not completely fine for example, sofa or flux, how the shadows goes, so it's not really natural, this image looks like. So also perspective of this sofa, I would say this part is a little bit wider than it should be, so it's not perfect image, but it's still working kind of well, so it's okay. And the important thing is keep the scene as it is, because it's kind of in painting approach. You really mask the position for the object inside of your scene, so you can't modify your room itself. So, and this is not the case, for example, for Gwen image edit. So here I implemented one sample from Gwen. I don't like this model in general, but for some cases, for example, for Inpaint and object, this work more or less okay. Not totally fine, but okay. And here is it's kind of good with the task if we speak about pattern of this carpet, and also software is more or less okay, but it's changed the perspective camera view in the room. It's the first thing, and it's not a good for this task, I would say. And so second light also not that perfect as it should be. And here is Gemini. So again, this is the best model right now for this task. The only thing here, because you have no inpainting tool for Gemini, you need to describe where each object should be, and sometimes it's not really result is not follow let's say your way of thinking, and because it's not easy to describe one another things, and basically you just need to provide the several attempts again, and for example this attempt 1, this attempt 2, and in this case it's fine, in this case it's not as I expected it. So you can't really place object on the specific position here, unless you will do it before in Photoshop. For example, you place this sofa roughly and carpet roughly in Photoshop, and then just ask Gemini to adjust all this object precisely according to perspective, light and different stuff. So it should work. I didn't try it because for me it's easy just to provide set of images to Gemini, and then try again and again, maybe 5-6 times until I will have a nice result. Then to do this collage in Photoshop first. So it's up to you. If it's more tricky composition, maybe collage will be easier, but for just 3 objects and such a scene, it's easy to just provide a set of images. So and I would say for Inpaint in object task, Gemini is still the best choice. So it's a preview model. This is the final model. It's even better if we speak about scale of the object, because you see in this case software is bigger, and I would say this is more real because the size of the sofa in compared to this size of this room should be rather like that than like that. So in this case this model will understand it better, and in all my attempts it was more or less like that. This model working better than preview model according to the scale of the objects. So here I would say also table is kind of small, and in this case it's more or less better. But for example, carpet here is not, but no, it's fine. Here is a white stripe, here is a brown stripe, so it's kind of the same carpet. So it's good. Okay, next task is AI renders, and basically it's not just one task. It's a lot of different approaches for AI renders, depends which exact input you will provide. And for example, the first sample I will do here, it's canny input. It means canny input is this style of image with a black background and white contours of all the objects, and you can do such a screenshot from most of the 3D softwares. For example, this is a screenshot from Rhino I did. This is the model we did in Cloud Cooperation for competition in Tartu, Estonia, and this is the building, kind of really 3D model it in a detailed way. So it's like a proper screenshot from Rhino with all this environment, street lamps, roads, etc. And I just tuned my viewport in this way. So in Rhino it's totally possible. In most of the other softwares I suppose it's possible too, but it depends. If it's not possible in your own software, or if you don't know how to do it, you can use preprocessor inside of ComfUI or any other software for AI generating images. Usually like ready-made services like Xfigura, for example, they provided such a preprocessor as a background work. So it's implemented there, you even don't know. It means you can just use any screenshot, not in this style. And in ComfUI it's also possible, you just need to implement additional node with the preprocessor. But I would say if you do that, preprocessor sometimes not working precisely with the contours. It understands some contours, some not understand. It can provide some artifacts as well. So if you tune it in your 3D software, such style of image, your render will be more precise in the end. So basically I prefer to do that exact appearance directly in Rhino, then make a screenshot and then make a render, not use the preprocessor automatically to convert my random screenshot to this style of image. And this style of image, it's a requirement to use canny type control nets. So you in any case need to do either preprocessing, automatical preprocessing, or prepare such images in advance. So basically, let's say we have such type of screenshot and we need to create a realistic render as we did in the proper rendering software like 3ds Max, Blender, Unreal Engine, etc. So it doesn't matter which render engine we use. So here we will use AI as a render engine instead of let's say 3ds Max. And this is the result with SDXL. I didn't implement here Midjourney. It's also possible to use Midjourney for such task using a retexturing feature, but the quality is not nice from my point of view, and especially if you provide exact this type of screenshot for Midjourney, it's not working well. So I didn't implement it to this comparison. So I'll start with SDXL, and SDXL working really well, especially if you have some trained LoRa's. And this is the control net I prefer to use for this type of job, because control net also affect your style. And if you use another control net, it will provide totally different images if we speak about colors, let's say, or contrast of this image or something like that. So control net is not just taking your contours and follow the composition, it's also affect the style of the image, is important thing. So I use this exact control net for that from Sincere, and if you Google Sincere, you will find a Hugging Face page with all different kind of control nets from this developer. So it's kind of cool for, especially for renders. And for Flux, I use Control Net Union Pro. For a long time, there was no good control net for Flux actually, and I would say this one is okay. Not for any task, but for AI render is more or less okay. It's still not the best. For example, let's keep these lines. Here we also see them some kind, but it's just on this generation. It's not every generation, let's say. And if we will check Miro later, you will see SDXL sometimes not keep these lines, and how it keeps it's also well, so it looks natural here. And here is not, so it's just lines on top of my image, which is not really I expected to have. And also it's kind of changed this part, so this is not also nice, but the appearance itself is, if we get rid of this line somehow, in Photoshop for example, is more realistic if we speak about reflections on the glass or light. So Flux in general more realistic, is especially if we speak about realistic modifications of Flux like Krea, because rough Flux dev model kind of not realistic, it's more like CGI. But Krea modification is good with light and reflections and different stuff. The only thing is always provided images in this cold color palette style, so it's also disadvantage somehow. Even if you, for example, provide a prompt like a golden hour, sunset or something like that, it still will be cold. So it's kind of style of Krea, but it's okay for me, and I still would prefer in this case, in between these two models, SDXL, because on top of all of this it's much faster, and you can use it commercially, but Flux is okay. And again, my favorite in this case, it's a Gemini, because it's just providing pretty cool results. So I don't really even compare this and this. So Gemini is better in all aspects, and all these environments, especially light, how you can follow the prompt. So in my point of view, Gemini is the best for this work right now. And this kind of sample from preview model and non-preview model, this one is better if we speak about this exact two images, but if we check a set of images, I would say this was a most successful result in my case, but average result is same here and here. So it's up to you which model you use. They cost the same, so it's basically, it doesn't matter which one is used. I mostly use this one right now, but if you don't achieve a nice result, you can just switch to check. Another render approach where we have a sketch as the input. This is another situation, and we also need this type of sketch where black background and white sketch lines. If your sketch is different, for example, you use blue pen or pencil or something like that, you need to use preprocessor again. And in this case, it's, for example, you can use same Kani preprocessor, or this is the mistake actually, it's sketch to render, and or you can use Scribble preprocessor, which is same as Kani, but it's more like follow your handmade curves, and it's better for sketches. So in this case, SDXL much better than Flux, so Flux not really work well with sketches, or at least I didn't find a nice approach for that. So I don't like how Flux working at all, unless you're looking for kind of not close interpretation of your sketches, but something far from your sketch with not good quality as well. Basically, if I compare these two images, SDXL better in all aspects. It's even some kind of better than Gemini. So Gemini tried to do this really realistic. So because Sketch is such kind of input which is not necessary to follow precisely, and the Gemini do it precisely. So the result here is not that artistic, I would say, as SDXL provided. So basically, for this task, SDXL is still my favorite, but it depends on Sketch. So if you provide another sketch, maybe result will be different. So Gemini still did the most realistic result, most detailed result, if you compare to other two models. Light also is best here. Maybe it's just because of this sketch, this prompt, I like this result more. So for other sketches it could be different. Here is kind of mood of Mad Max, which I didn't try to achieve, but it's kind of do it in this way. So basically my favorite here is SDXL, and at least I can tell for some type of side job you can consider SDXL as one of the tool with the Gemini as well, because for, as I already told you, for other sketches Gemini could be better. It depends on depends prompt, depends sketches, you just need to check. So it's another sample from Gemini. This is more interesting. It's this is the preview model, this is flash image model, and I would say here is interpretation is better. So it's understand this part of a staircase, and this kind of interesting to me. So I would say here this model working much better than preview model. Mass model to render, so it's another type of input where you don't have a precise model, but you already have something in 3D. For example, something like that. It could be any mass model, like a functional diagram, for example, or something else. And then from this kind of input you try to achieve a render. This is the result with SDXL plus Mist-Align Control Net plus Voxel Tower and Nuno LoRa's. So it's a set of 4 different models here. And I would say it's okay. The only thing with this exact set, results are similar. So, and if you keep the prompt, keep the set of models, keep other settings, and just change the seed, you will achieve similar results. So what you need to do is change a combination of LoRa models. So basically, here for example, it's model set are the same, but here I changed the prompt every time. So here is just one prompt, but I changed the material parts and also landscape parts. So here for example it's mountains, here maybe landscape part is the same actually, because all of them seems mountains to me right now, but materials for sure I changed for all these 3, and this was an input. And basically if you change the prompt slightly you will achieve different results already, but just changing the seed is not enough. So basically here is the really similar ideas and approaches, just the composition of the building slightly different. So basically SDXL working really well with such type of inputs, and this is the best choice for that right now, because Gemini with this exact input consider it really precisely, the same as with Sketch, and I don't really like it because it's still Minecraft style result as on the input, and I actually want to change it. So basically SDXL did it, and Gemini not really. So it's kind of interesting, but in my case I didn't find a way how to trick it and how to achieve a nice result right here. So for this type of inputs, I would say SDXL is still the best choice. Another type of render job. Here we have a realistic render already. This one for the same project in Tartu we did in Cloud Corporation, and here I did a render with Blender. So this is like a conventional render which I did in the proper 3D software, all this in 3D, all these trees and different stuff, so nothing AI, no AI here at all. But I wanna change with the AI mood of this image, so either weather or season or daytime or something like that. So here the results, I only try to use this with SDXL and Gemini, nothing else. I would say Gemini is better, much better for this task, because for SDXL it's okay, but the thing is I trained LoRA for this exact winter renders. So if I need night renders, I need to train another LoRA. So I did it, of course, but for any type of such job, you need to train your own specific LoRA. And the thing is, for example, this LoRA, based on set of images, which are kind of has this bluish mood. And that's why your render always will be kind of blue color palette. So because of this LoRA, and you can't really change it directly with AI. Of course, you can do it in Photoshop, and it's not a complex job actually to change color appearance in Photoshop, but still. So in Gemini, your colors are more natural from the beginning, and you can also use prompt to change it in one or another direction, and also how it's follow your existing building. It's also nice, because for SDXL you actually need to afterwards layer your AI output with initial input like that, and redraw, for example, it can change these small details because SDXL not follow them precisely, and you need to redraw them on top in Photoshop. So basically it's also easy to do, but it's additional job. And this final image is already after Photoshop actually. It's just small changes, and I can show you what exactly SDXL produced here. So basically, if I go to renders, and so winter renders, I suppose is this image, or maybe this one, probably this one. So what you can see, first of all these people here and all these reflections are not nice at all. Also this detail changed not precisely. This entrance kind of looks AI. People, of course, this part, so in general building, I would say, if you not see precisely, it's okay, but when you zoom in, you see all these small details which are not nice. And afterwards I did Photoshop changes to achieve this. So basically I keep the people, but it's also possible to change. But reflections are better right now, this part of the building are better. Also, if you check precisely, you can see this kind of not really natural, and this is the problem here. So for Gemini you don't have this problem, and you don't need to do something else in Photoshop. So this is like a rough image which Gemini did, and basically your building here it's keep as it is without any changes. Also look, this bridge, this lamps, so everything on the proper places, and even people are much nicer than here, and the light reflection, so everything basically is better. So I would say for such kind of job Gemini is the best choice. Also, for example, I can show you night renders, and let's say we have these images after Photoshop right here. So this is the night image. This is from another render, so night images. So this is result. And if we check Gemini for that, I think I did it also. Let me find this. Yeah, here. So this is my winter renders, the different modifications, and this is night renders. So also the building itself are precise as it was on the render. It's just changed an environment and these different modifications basically, and how night look like is really natural, all these lights, and even at light sometimes inside of the building, and all these type of lights also were added automatically. So basically I really like how it working. So this if you want to change something. Upscale. So for upscale, basically upscale is a work. If you don't know, I don't know who watching this lecture. Of course I know some people in person, but I don't know everyone, and the level of VCI as well. So that's why I maybe explain some stuff which is obvious for you, but I will try to do it for all the people. So basically upscale is a technique when you need to improve the resolution of your image and also make details looks more nice and precise. So basically it's not just changing the resolution, it's also improve details, small details of the building, also improve faces of the people, etc., etc. So all this stuff. And for upscale you can use actually a lot of different models, so literally thousands of them, and I will show you only one in this case because it's not really possible to compare all of them, but this is the best. So I didn't check the commercial services for that, maybe they even better, but what I've seen on internet, they either on the same level or even worse. So FluxDev is the best model for upscaling, and this is how it's working. So you can check the difference between the initial image and the result. I don't know, the video really provide these changes of qualities or not, because it's YouTube, it's still changing my stream, but basically the difference is a really big one. And I even don't say commercial services do it better. So this is for free in ComfyUI. You can just download Flux model and use it for upscaling, and for me it's the best choice. So in this category I would say Flux is the best, and models like Gemini, they don't do it at all, for example, so they just provide image as it is. Another thing which is important for your workflows, it's training your own LoRAs on your own dataset. So LoRA is a specific small model which you can train on top of the main model like SDXL or Flux to direct such a model in a specific way. For example, in a way of the specific architectural style or painting style or mood, like for example I trained LoRA for these winter renders to change summer appearance to winter. So it depends on your task. The thing is, you need to prepare a set of images for training. Usually it's about 50 or 70 images, and use them to train your own model. So for that you need to handle some specific softwares, like for example Koya, or nowadays there are some new tools which are better, or even in ComfyUI it's possible to train something. But basically not every model are open for training. So for example Gemini is not, and for what actually you can use training models. So this is the interesting thing, because usually you can provide your style reference to achieve one or another specific style in your render or in your text-to-image workflow. So we already covered it in this exact presentation. But LoRA is not a specific style image. It could be a range of different styled image, different architecture style, even inside of the office. One or another building that was developed by this office, they could be different, and you sometimes wanna see not exact style reference, but something in between of the set of history of your office, let's say. And if this is the task, or you can wanna mix one set of references with another set of references. For example, I usually mix LoRA trained on the deconstructivistic building with the LoRA trained on different landscapes which are not related to architecture at all. It's just really interesting landscapes photos, and I want to see how these two type of things could be mixed, and I don't need a specific building to mix with the specific landscape, which I can do with Gemini, for example, to provide these two references. But I rather want to see how this history of the constructivism can mix with the different set of the landscapes. So this could be not predictable result, and it's more or less like text to image with additional essence of your ideas, and this is kind of interesting job, which is not easy to explain, but when you try it you see the benefits of it. And only a certain model can be trained, so it's for now any kind of stable diffusion, so you can train old stable diffusion models like Stable Diffusion 1.5, of course SDXL, Stable Diffusion XL it means, so, and new Stable Diffusion models like 3.5 if I'm not wrong, but nobody uses them, but basically you can train them as well. Also you can train flux models, either flux Deformation models, which are regular models, or flux context models, which are trained in a specific tricky way on a pair of on a set of pairs of images. So I will not go deep into it, but context it's kind of image editing model like Gemini as well, and it's working in a different way, and you need to provide not just output for training but input as well. So it's kind of interesting way to do that. And basically all these flux models are possible to train, and Gwen image edit models are possible to train, and some others. So basically you even can train control net models, but it's not it's maybe necessary in some cases, but I never did it. It's kind of a huge area to talk about. But for example, closed models like Gemini or ChatGPT or Midjourney, you cannot train, so this is disadvantage for them. And basically for this kind of job, so the best models are still SDXL. Is interesting because it's easy to train, it's fast for training, you need not a big set of images, 40-70 is okay, so it's you still need to provide captioning, it means description of each image. You can automate this job, but by default with each image you need to provide a text file with the description. So you can use your LoRA afterwards for commercial use, and the thing is understanding of the concept which you train in, it's kind of moderate, so it's not really precise. Sometimes it's okay and it's interesting, and this, for example, the constructivism LoRA, which you can find using this CVTI link with my collection. I will provide this link under the video as well afterwards, so you can check all these LoRAs which I am using. It's some of them are mine, some of them not, so basically all of them related to architecture or design, and you can use them inside ConfUI or other interfaces. So basically this for SDXL. Flux Schnell, so I kind of like this model for training because results are something in the middle to realistic understanding of your data set and kind of random generic results. So it's same data set here and here basically, but this is much more realistic, related to real deconstructivism examples. For example, this is really similar to Kopf-Himmelblau buildings, and basically, but this one not, and it's not that similar as existing deconstructivism buildings. So, and this I like actually. So some of these parts are also from Kopf-Himmelblau, let's say, but others are kind of mixed with concepts which probably inside of this Chanel model, and I kind of like it, how it mixes all together, and this model is interesting for me. And FluxDev, so it's understand your concept really precise way. You don't even need to provide captioning, so it can describe image by itself. So you just need to prepare a data set. It's working differently when you provide captioning or when you're not, and sometimes one or another approach is better, but basically it's not a requirement. And kind of cool model as well, especially if you mix it with something else, and it's training in a really nice way when it's really see your data set and really implement elements of your data set to the job which you will provide after. So basically for training, FluxDev is the best model. For results of this training, so it depends what you want to achieve. So objectively, FluxDev is the best choice, but I also like these two for some reasons. So basically, that's it for today. I will check your questions as well. And by the way, this is my Instagram. If you wanna, I don't know, provide questions later, or if you wanna just join to this page, do that. And let me check. Do you have questions on this session? Okay, this is not a question, but it's interesting comment from Artyom. Photoshop beta updated. They added a new Firefly model for Inpaint, Outpaint. I haven't tested properly yet, but at first view it looks much better than Firefly 3. So maybe, yeah, I maybe didn't even understand it when they switch it. I would say I also I don't know how when they did it, but basically if I compare, for example, my image for outpainting in Photoshop, which I did a year ago and 2 months ago, it's already a difference there. So they for sure update it from time to time, and it's going to be better and better. So in some point Photoshop will achieve the quality we need. I didn't check this new update, so maybe it's already there. And Photoshop, it's easy to use, and it's basically a nice tool for all this stuff. Okay, next question. How much time you spend to tune your AI for this quality of image? So basically I didn't train just one model just from one attempt, of course. For example, if we speak about this model, deconstructivism, I maybe did it with different parameters about 20 times. So each attempt, it's 5-6 hours on my computer. It's with 16 gigabyte video memory, so it's basically listed here. So this is what I have. If you have better computer, it will be faster, of course, because you can train, you can use like a batch training for several images simultaneously. I use only one image at a time for my dataset, and basically it's not that fast. So let's say if I have 20 attempts, 5 hours each, it's basically 100 hours, and then I pick one model which I like more, and basically I use it afterwards. So but this is for one model. I trained a lot of different models, and you never know which exact parameters works better for one or another data set, and you always need to check. I have several sets of parameters which I always check, and basically it's one of the most important is you have or not image descriptions, so this captioning. It's really important. The data set itself, you can remove or add some images. It's also affect really much all this work, but inside of training softwares there are some like technical parameters which are also important. So how many steps, which rank you use, etc., etc. So also some parameters for optimization of the training. So basically the most important is your data set and description, but other parameters also can affect. So, and that's why you need several attempts to find best solution. Okay, looks like there is no question. There are no questions anymore. Let's say we will stop on it. If you will have other questions, you will go to Instagram, LinkedIn, or under this video you can text your comments. I will try to check and answer them. So basically also if you will share this video after with your friends and colleagues, I will be happy for that, and thankful for that. Basically that's it. See you next time. For now I think we can finish this lecture. It's already night time right here. I will switch on my camera again, and yeah, it's even in this office automatically all these lights switched off, so that's why I see in the dark. So see you soon. Thank you to join me today, and